Who is responsible for Taiwan's defense?
Part 106.
Insular Area Studies.
Provided as background information to a discussion of the Spanish-American War sessions.
In the current series of films, in our search for an answer to the question of who is responsible for Taiwan's defense, beginning with film 87, we proceeded to an overview of certain critical aspects of the Mexican-American War. Our goal was to understand how, at the most fundamental level, the responsibility for defense of a particular geographic area arises.
As a necessary adjunct to our upcoming discussion of the Spanish-American War and its resulting territorial cessions, it is important to introduce the subject of U.S. insular areas.
A basic definition says, in the law of the United States, an insular area is a U.S. associated jurisdiction that is not part of the 50 states or the District of Columbia.
Different types of U.S. insular areas were introduced in films 104 and 105.
More specifically, for the purposes of this series of films, our attention is focused on
Type 1 insular areas acquired by conquest.
In the Spanish-American Peace Treaty of April 11, 1899, Spain ceded Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines to the United States. In the same treaty, Spain's sovereignty over Cuba was relinquished, but no receiving country was designated.
In the San Francisco Peace Treaty, SFPT, after World War II in the Pacific, the following island groups were displaced, aka separated, or set apart, from Japan, but no receiving country was designated. Ryukyus. Taiwan.
Category 1 and Category 2. We also believe that some further differentiation is desirable. Hence, under Type 1 insular areas, our editors are taking the liberty of specifying the following.
Type 1 Category 1 insular areas.
Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. These may also simply be called overseas territories of the United States.
Type 1 Category 2 insular areas.
Cuba, the Ryukyu Island Group, and any other overseas territories, areas, which fit into a similar legal framework, with similar characteristics, attributes, etc. These may also be called U.S. overseas quasi-trusteeships.
All of these Category 1 and Category 2 overseas territories are contained in the scope of populated insular areas as discussed in this series of films.
Under Type 1, does Taiwan qualify as a Category 1 or Category 2 insular area of the United States?
Previous films in this series have presented various pieces of evidence which can be helpful in making an evaluation of this issue. More evidence will be presented in future films.